What's going on, everybody? My name is Michael Weer, and this is my spoiler talk for the movie Avengers Infinity War. Very keywords there were spoiler talk. So if you have not seen Avengers Infinity War yet, and you plan on seeing it without any spoilers, this is the wrong video for you. You might want to find another one. Put this one in a playlist, watch it later, but the point is, don't go any further if you don't want to be spoiled for Avengers Infinity War. But if you've already seen the movie, or just want to hear about the movie in general, you know what? I'm here. Let's do it. Spoiler talk right now. So guys, we're going to start with actually something I couldn't mention in my previous review because I really want to get it off my chest, and that is a con I had for the movie, but a con I couldn't put in because it would spoil the movie for other people that haven't seen it yet, and that is the Power Stone. The very first stone that Thanos has is the purple Power Stone, and you know he took it from the Nova Corps, but the fact remains we don't get to see that. And I was really hoping to see Thanos just trash the Nova Corps at the start of this movie, and then get into the rest of the movie. But we don't. He already has it. Later on they touch on it. He says they're destroyed. I took the Power Stone. And the Guardians he tells that to are very sad because the planet it was on and the people they left the stone with were very special to them. And so that hit them, but it didn't hit me as an audience member because I didn't get to see it. Now, that being said, Russo brothers, if you filmed that scene, please put it on the DVD as an extra because I would love to just see it. That's all I'm saying. The next thing I want to talk about is that first opening scene of the movie, and that is Thanos and Loki and Thor and the Black Order crew. Oh my gosh, those guys were awesome. But the movie opens and Heimdall's there. He's about to die. Everybody on Asgard is dead. Like, that's crazy. We just saw Thor Ragnarok. We saw Thor go through this epic journey to save all the Asgardians, and they're all dead. The only Asgardian left as of this movie is Thor. None of them are left. They're all dead. That is insane, including Korg, who I really liked. I'm sure when my wife sees this, she's going to be like, oh my gosh, Korg is dead, because that was her favorite character from Thor Ragnarok. Well, honey, I'm sorry, but yes, Korg is dead, as far as I know. They're all dead, and that's what's crazy. This opening scene of the movie was intense, because everybody was already dead, and then Loki, he tries to do the right thing one more time. We saw his character go through back and forth of good and bad things, but then at the end of Thor Ragnarok, we saw him do the right thing. And then he had to take that Tesseract. If he had just left that Tesseract, they'd all be alive. But they're not because Thanos followed the Tesseract and Loki had it. He's like, damn it, I do have the Tesseract. Here it is, right here. And then he's like, here, you can have it. And then he's like, hey, I pledge my undying love to you. And he tries to stab Thanos, and Thanos stops him. And he's like, you know what? I don't need you here. Ugh. Dead. Loki is dead. Holy shit, Loki's dead? That's insane. Now, we've seen Loki die before, but I really do think he's dead this time. That being said, a lot of people die in this movie, and a lot of people are probably dead for sure. But how many of them are coming back? I don't know. Let's continue on with spoiler talk. And the next thing we're going to talk about is another con that I couldn't bring up in my spoiler review because it's the Hulk. Now, in the very first scene, Loki gets to say, we have a Hulk. And Hulk jumps Thanos, and you're like, yes! And then Thanos kicks the shit out of Hulk, and I was like, whoa, Thanos is a baddie. Thanos is someone to deal with here because he just trashed Hulk. No one does that to Hulk. Heimdall's able to shoot Hulk to Earth, and then when Hulk hits down to Earth, he turns into Bruce Banner and refuses to come out. There's an internal struggle going on between Bruce Banner and the Hulk, and the Hulk doesn't want to come out. Now, I don't know if the Hulk's afraid of Thanos. Maybe that's why he wouldn't come out. I'm not sure. Now, let's not forget, in the original Avengers movie, Mark Ruffalo said he put a gun in his mouth and tried to kill himself, but when he pulled the trigger, the big guy, meaning the Hulk, spit the bullet back out. So that might have been a way to bring Hulk out. I don't know, though, because Hulk really didn't want to come out of Banner, and the fact that they both have a conscience now is really cool, but there was a lack of Hulk in this movie, and in the preview, you see them all running into battle against the evil alien invasion, and the Hulk is there. But swap him out for Hulkbuster, and that's what we actually got, which leads me to another, not con for the movie, because it's not really the movie's fault, but let's talk to Lego really quick, because Lego had this action figure set together, and they're like Bruce Banner inside the Hulkbuster, and people were like, confirmed, it's Banner in the Hulkbuster, and I was like, no, they wouldn't do that, they wouldn't spoil that, that's a ruse, it's going to be somebody else, it's going to be Black Panther's little sister controlling the bot from, you know, a safe place like she does in the movie Black Panther, but no, it was Bruce Banner in the War Machine, or I'm sorry, not the War Machine, the Hulkbuster suit, and it's just, like, really? Lego? Really? Yeah, that was a huge spoiler for the movie. I'm not okay with that. Like, so next time, just don't. Maybe I should just not look at all the articles on the internet, but I was really excited for the movie. Moving on. Okay guys, so with my cons from the original review out of the way, which were more just like fanboy cons, let's be honest, let's talk about the rest of the spoilers in this movie. And the next thing I want to talk about is apparently Tony and Pepper are about to get married. That's pretty cool. But then Tony shoots off to space to try and save Doctor Strange. Spider-Man gets the Iron Spider suit, and at first it's just a suit, but later you see the legs, and that was so cool. But Spider-Man goes up to space with him, and they're on Ebony Maw's ship, and Ebony Maw really wants that time stone from Doctor Strange, but he's got this death curse on it that only Doctor Strange can break it, so he's trying to torture Doctor Strange to get the information he needs, and Spider-Man's like, hey, I have an idea. Remember that really old movie Alien? And then they suck Ebony Maw out into space. That was a really cool moment. I really enjoyed the balance between Spider-Man's humor and the dark tones of this movie. Marvel's done that really well. DC has always just been like, hey, we're super dark. In fact, Deadpool even makes a joke about it, because Josh Brolin's character Cable in the Deadpool 2 trailer is stabbing him in the shoulder, and Deadpool's like, shouldn't you be in the DC universe, because they're so dark and so just nothing's fun. This is a dark universe. But Marvel does a good job of making all of those jokes land and just having a great moment. Again, sticking with Spider-Man, I want to talk about one of my other favorite funny moments of the movie, and that's where they're fighting Thanos on Titan, and Spider-Man's jumping through Doctor Strange's portals, and he's like, magic. Magic, magic with a kick. That was really hilarious. They do a good job. Again, they do a very good job of balancing the humor and the dark tone of this movie. And of course, that brings us to my next spoiler in this movie, and that is Thor's quest for his hammer. Thor's hammer is gone. He kind of lost it in Ragnarok, and I wasn't sure how they were going to treat Thor in this movie, like if he was just going to be that all-powerful god we saw at the end of Ragnarok that just uses his fists instead of a hammer. But in this movie, he's like, no, look, I've tangled with Thanos. The only way I'm beating him is if I get a hammer that also has an axe on it. And he does. He gets that hammer with an axe on it, and that comes into play at the end of the movie. We'll get to that spoiler later. Let's talk about this one. So Thor, Rocket, and Groot all get in a spaceship. They fly to where the space, where they in space where the hammers are made, and when they get there, everybody's dead except for one, and that's Peter Dinklage's character. And that's a pretty cool spoiler because no one knew who he was going to be, and Peter Dinklage, this tiny guy, plays a giant, and that was just a nifty little add-on to the movie. Thor does. He gets his hammer. He holds it up. Groot is part of that hammer. I think that's Groot's moment in this movie. I think everybody in this movie gets a moment, and Groot's moment is a piece of Groot is Thor's new hammer, and that was just pretty awesome. So moving on to a spoiler of an Infinity Stones, when they reveal how Thanos gets the Reality Stone, the Red Stone, that was pretty cool because Star-Lord, Gamora, Mantis, and Drax all land on the planet of the Reality Stone because they're going to get there and try to get it before Thanos is able to get it. What they don't know is he's already been there, he already trashed the place, everything's already on fire, and Thanos is just laying a trap so he can take Gamora with him, which he does. He lays his trap, they fall for it, he shows them reality's been changed because he already has the Reality Stone. So that was a pretty awesome moment. And so that moves us on to the next stone, and that is the Soul Stone. Now this has been a huge wonder in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Where is that Soul Stone? I personally thought that it was on Wakanda. I was like, I know it's on Wakanda, they're gonna release it in Black Panther, they're gonna show everybody, and then it wasn't. And I was like, okay, I still think it's on Wakanda, and that's why they're fighting on Wakanda, and it's not. The Soul Stone's on a planet we've never heard of before. Thanos takes Gamora there because Gamora says she knows it's there. They get there, and that reveals, in my opinion, one of the biggest spoilers of this movie, and that is the Red Skull, who's been missing since Captain America. He got sucked into that space stone. A lot of people thought he was dead. A lot of people were like, the guy that played Red Skull, he doesn't want to come back, so they're just never going to use Red Skull again. And then, oh my god, it's the Red Skull who is the gatekeeper to the Soul Stone, and oh wow, that was a big deal. I was jaw-dropped when I saw Red Skull. That was probably the biggest spoiler in the movie for me, is Red Skull. He was guarding the Soul Stone. Just out of left field. That was awesome. And how Thanos was able to obtain that Soul Stone was crazy because you got this moment with Thanos that I didn't see coming, and that was a moment of heart out of Thanos. Like he really does love Gamora. Like he took her from her planet, but he loves her, but nothing's gonna stop Thanos' quest. And so he's like, Gamora, you're going over a cliff, and the Soul Stone is mine. So he was able to get that Soul Stone, and we don't see Red Skull anymore, but it gives me hope for the future. They could still bring the Red Skull back, so I'd like to see that. Next, we move on to the next stone, how he gets the time stone. The time stone is around Doctor Strange's neck, right? And so he finally is fighting everybody on Titan, and they have a pretty solid plan to take him down. But remember, Doctor Strange earlier in the movie was like, listen, Tony, I looked at 14 million plus ways, and we lose the majority of them. And so Tony's like, well, how many do we win? He's like, just one. And at that point, they move forward. They don't talk about what that plan is, and you assume it's the plan that they come up with on Titan, but at the end of the day, you realize the plan is to give Thanos the Time Stone, to put Tony Stark in a very vulnerable place where Tony Stark is about to die, and make it seem like they're giving him the stone in replace of Tony's life, which they are, but they're not really doing that because this is their plan all along, unbeknownst to you, the audience member. And I thought that was brilliant because the entire time you're thinking, wow, they're going to get that glove off, and then you think Star-Lord ruined it. But really, this was their plan all along. This was the only way to let it happen, and I don't think anybody but Tony and Doctor Strange knew that was the plan all along. They had to let Star-Lord find out Gamora was dead. They had to let him get angry. They had to eventually let multiple people on the Avengers crew die at the end of that movie, which again, I'll get to at the end of this review. So that's how he gets the Time Stone. As soon as he has the Time Stone, he's like, okay, this was great, I'm out. Gone. Where does Thanos go? Well, he goes to Wakanda. Wakanda is where they're having a massive battle over the final stone, the Soul Stone. The Soul Stone is currently implanted in Vision's head, and they are working on taking it out of him upstairs. And downstairs on the ground, we've got Black Panther, Black Widow, War Machine, Winter Soldier, and several others fighting in Wakanda to protect Vision. They're fighting all these alien beings, they're fighting 3 members of the Black Order. It's a really awesome scene, but when Thanos shows up, it's done. That's it. He's got 5 of the stones. He's almost impossible to stop. He's just tossing this guy. Captain America, that awesome shot we saw from the preview where he stops Thanos' hand is like a 2-second scene. He just stops his hand and Thanos is like, gone. Which I did not know that's where they were going to go with that scene. I thought that was going to be Captain America's moment where he stops him and he throws him, and no, Thanos is just like, okay, gone. And then Black Panther, gone. And then everybody else in that scene, gone, gone, gone. And it comes down to Scarlet Witch, Thanos, and Vision. And Vision has finally convinced Scarlet Witch to kill him. He's like, there's no other way. Destroy the stone, destroy me at the same time. So she's blasting Vision, she's blasting Thanos. She's trying to stop them both at the same time. She kills Vision, and Thanos stops, and he's like, I get why you did that. Oh, I've got the Time Stone. Let me just reverse time really quick, knock you out of the way, grab Vision's head, yank that thing out of his skull. Vision is dead. He puts that last stone in. He has a moment where he's like, finally, I have all the power. And then Thor's hammer, which we talked about earlier in this spoiler talk. Thor's hammer comes out of nowhere. He throws that hammer down. It goes through his chest. Thanos looks up and says, you should have gone for my head. Click. That's it. That was amazing. All of a sudden, Thanos is gone. Thanos is alone with a young version of Gamora. And she says to him, she says, you did it. What did it cost you? And he said, everything. And he's looking at Gamora. And again, you understand how hard it was on Thanos to do this. Because again, while he was doing something bad, he was doing something that he thought was right. And he had to sacrifice the one thing in this world that he loved, and that was Gamora. And that is just a very moving scene. And then it shoots to all the different Avengers around the universe. And the most touching Avenger was probably Spider-Man when he said, Mr. Stark, I don't want to go, and he hugged him, and then boom, he was gone, and then Drax was gone, and then Star-Lord was gone. And the other person that had a moment was probably Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange looked at Tony and he said, this is the way it had to be. Going back to their original conversation where Doctor Strange and Tony were both talking, saying there's only one way, so this has to be their endgame plan. This has to be it. They knew Tony was the only person that was going to survive on Titan. They knew very few Avengers would survive on Earth. How incredible was this movie, guys? This was awesome. Wait a minute, just like the movie, we have to talk about the end credit scene, because the end credit scene happens and there is Nick Fury and Colby Smulders, who is that her real name or her name on this movie? I don't know. Point is, she's gone. She evaporates, right? And then Nick Fury realizes he's going to start to evaporate. So he grabs his piece of tech and he's like, dun, 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 dun. And then he starts to evaporate and he's like, motherfuck. And then it cuts out completely and he drops the thing. And then you see it sending, and then boom. you see Captain Marvel's symbol, and it's like, oh, so that's who they're going to need to beat Thanos, or just to make things right. Who knows? Who knows? And here's the thing. We have to wait 1 full year before we even get there. This movie was fantastic, and I hope you enjoyed this spoiler talk. If you did and you have comments of your own, put that in the comment section down below. And more importantly, hit the like button, hit the share button so your friends can see this, and don't forget to hit subscribe. That's all I got. Thanks for watching.